Good morning, YouTube. This is Crazy Orchid Lady, and today we're filming our 1-year Growstone for Florida for Orchids update. So it's actually been a little bit over a year. We originally did that video on July 5th, so about 3 weeks after I originally posted it, but here we go. Today we're filming in my back patio. It is just way too muggy in the front. But I will be doing an update on some plants. I have some pretty interesting developments and some fantastic surprises, so I will film that today and hopefully post that video tomorrow as well, so you'll have back-to-back videos. Sorry it's taken so long to kind of post a video, but yeah, life. So sorry about that. Alright, here we go. So let's go ahead and take a look at our little Cattleya seedlings. They are still classified as seedlings for the most part. I will go ahead and explain that 2 of these are no longer classified as seedlings. They would be considered near blooming size, no longer seedlings, I would say. So just to kind of give you an idea of what a near blooming size plant is, or blooming size plant would be, this would still be considered a seedling. Whereas this, which can't really tell sideways, but here we go. And here we go, significantly bigger. And this one, which was always our more robust one, would be considered near blooming size, whereas something like this and like this would still actually be considered seedlings. These guys are probably still about another year, maybe 2, away from blooming, whereas these guys, I think this growth has a sheath possibly that's coming out. Yep, it does. So this one may be producing its first sheath. It doesn't mean it's going to bloom, guys. It just means that it has, it's kind of learning the blooming process. Same thing kind of goes for this one. It's matured its first real adult kind of growth. It's fairly large down here. And just to kind of give you an idea as how I kind of gauge this, if some of you remember, I had a back bulb that was given to me off of an older Cattleya for $1 at Lowe's. This was that back bulb. It was 1 back bulb, which is a risk. It's really better to have it like 3 or more. But it was given to me for $1 from the Lowe's person. That particular back bulb grew this growth, and this one, and now this one. And as you can see here, I have a sheath. There isn't anything in there, but guys, don't worry. Sometimes the plant will have the sheath will turn brown, it will look like, hey, it's dead, and it will be that way for the longest time, and then boom, all of a sudden you get buds. So never ever take the sheaths off, don't cut them open, don't touch them, just leave them there. It's basically the plant is practicing to bloom, so you want to give it that opportunity to practice, and then sometimes at the right time for that particular plant, it will bloom for you. But back to our Cattleya seedlings / near blooming size Cattleyas in the Growstone. Alright, so our Growstone media works fantastic for Florida during our rainy season. Things that we learned is in the cold, in a clay pot specifically, it is way too cold for Cattleyas. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use this for other types of plants. However, that being said, I did try the Growstone media on an Oncidium, and it absolutely hated it. Maybe it was because I tried it on these Oncidiums, and as you can see, they're not looking that great. I left them in there for the entire year. They really struggled. I gave them every opportunity to adjust, and they just didn't. These are actually Oncidium twinkles. They are a lot smaller than a normal Oncidium, but they do give you a flush of color, which I absolutely love. They just didn't do good. I think their roots are just way too delicate. They need a lot more water, and that Growstone just dries out a little too fast for them. So they didn't do well. Again, that's not to say that in the right environment it may not work, but for me, in this environment, it did not work. So back to these guys. Again, a few things I learned. Growstone is fantastic. It is very light, and I mean so light that it will blow away in a strong wind. So you do need a heavy pot, or you need to weigh down whatever pot you use when you decide to use Growstone, because it will topple over in a strong wind. Growstone would probably be a really good media for hydroponics or semi-hydroponics, being that it was originally made for a hydroponic environment. So that is something that I may actually test out in the actual semi-hydro versus using a LECA, because Growstone is much cheaper actually than LECA, and it has the same wicking properties. So I may be actually doing a video on that. We're going to go ahead and try it as well. But again, in the clay pots, which seemed ideal because they are heavy to keep everything kind of from floating away, because originally we did have them in plastic pots. It worked out great for the summer and spring months where it's really, 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 really wet here. And between the Growstone's ability to dry quickly, circulate lots of air, and the clay's ability to wick away moisture from the roots of the plant, these Cattleyas absolutely loved it. We did lose one Cattleya in the winter time because this winter for Florida specifically was kind of strange for us. It was really wet and it was really cold. Normally that doesn't happen here. We don't really get rain in the winter time, but I guess that was a prelude to what was coming for this year, which it's just been raining every single day. Just to give you an idea, I drained that pot yesterday and it's full. So I will be draining it again today. And that pot does have holes in it, guys. It's so saturated, it's not draining. So it's just raining ridiculously here. Now, where we are right now, I do actually have, let's see if I can get up here, double fans, which keep the air circulating here. Basically 24/7. I do turn it off at nighttime because we do have a cooler temperatures, a little bit more of a breeze coming from the lake. It's not so stifling. But during the day, I keep those dual fans on for the benefit of these orchids, also for my benefit because you can't breathe out here. But regardless, they do have constant kind of a breeze going through, not just from the lake, but also from that dual fan that I have overhead. Another thing that I did learn about the Growstone, and again, this is probably attributed a lot to the fact that I am an outdoor grower and I'm using clay pots. It is a very cold media, and you have to kind of think, Growstone is made from recycled glass. Well, glass isn't a very good conductor. It will kind of take on the ambient temperature, and that's pretty much what it did, guys. So when it got down to 20 and 30 degrees here, these plants were absolutely miserable. I had to bring them inside. And again, that is during the winter time when we lost one of our Cattleya seedlings, and it was due to black rot, which here in Florida, that is absolutely deadly. I'm sure it's deadly everywhere, but here it's one of the main things that we fight off during the rainy season, but also a lot during our end of winter, early spring months, where it is cooler and wetter, because we just can't control the bacteria. It's something that we are constantly fighting, and black rot is a killer. You will have one little tiny dot like that, and in a day, this entire thing would be gone. It would just be black, and it literally looks just black. So it's just something to be aware of. Let's see here, things that I would have done differently. I think things that I would have done differently would probably have been to, in the winter time, maybe put some kind of a heating mat down here to control that temperature for them. I don't know that it would have helped a lot, but it would have kept the temperature inside the pot a little bit more comfortable for these guys, being that they are seedlings. Now, I don't know if that would have affected a more mature plant. I'm not willing to risk any of my more mature plants, but these guys are going to be staying in Growstone. I will be probably changing a couple of them into a plastic pot, and then putting that pot into another pot, kind of creating a semi-hydroponic or self-watering type of system. And right now they are right next to my screen because they get wet. It's convenient for me. I don't have to water them, and because they're under the fan, they have they're getting dried off on the top, but the Growstone is maintaining moisture and the pots are maintaining moisture. And just in case you're thinking, oh, they don't look wet, well, just look here. look down at my table. Do you see that mold growing there? Yeah, there's plenty of moisture here. Let's see here, what else? I think that's pretty much it. All in all, I found that Growstone is a fantastic media. It's really inexpensive, it can be reused. Just make sure you follow the sterilization procedures when you're going to reuse it. And again, this is for Florida growers in this very wet environment, specifically for orchids. And I'm going to add specifically for cattleyas. Again, I don't know if this is going to be a viable media for oncidiums. That being said, I may actually go ahead and try an oncidium or some kind of intergeneric in the Growstone, but maybe a larger variety. I think going with those little oncidium twinkles was probably a big mistake because their roots are so delicate. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've got to say, guys. I will be filming that video again on some of the cool stuff going on in the front. And as you guys can see, I do have sheets coming out on some of these rescues from last year. And this is my Doritis champurniensis. Yeah, it's a cross with Ascus and the Prowler. She's covered with ants because she's a really happy girl. They're kind of harvesting that happy set, but she's got a beautiful little spike. So I'm going to have quite a few blooms here in the next few weeks to show you guys. So just keep tuned, keep up to date. Hope you guys like the back patio. Please let me know. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button down below. Also share, subscribe. I will be posting again some additional videos in the next few months, and possibly an orchid haul because I really, really want some new orchids. My husband may kill me, but I have plenty of room up there, right? We got plenty of room. Look, I just have that one dendrobium. I think I can do better. So thanks again, guys. I hope everyone has a fantastic day.